All right, let's get started. Welcome, everybody. My name is Ursi van der Herten, and I'm responsible for the admissions at Esade site for the students from the African continent. So I'm very happy to be here today, and even more happy to be surrounded by those two amazing ladies that you will meet in a little while. So the order of the session, what I suggest is that first of all, I would like to give you a brief overview of our Executive MBA format, the program. And then after that, I would like to ask Tatiana and Catherine to share their experience in the program so far, right, with you guys. So, just briefly, you can see Tatiana, Catherine, please keep your video on so that our attendees can see you. So Tatiana, welcome to the session. Also, Catherine, thanks for accepting my invitation to be here with us today.
You're welcome, Ursi.
Yes.
Thanks for
our pleasure.
Okay, great. So, we're gonna know more about you and your experience in a little while. First of all, as I said, I would like to tell you a little more about the Esade Executive MBA program. And I would like to start with, an overview of some of the rankings. So, you know, there are a lot of rankings. Here you can see the Financial Times, the Forbes, Bloomberg, and then also the QS. Some of the rankings about how our Executive MBA is positioned in Europe and also in the rest of the world. So have a look at that. So, for example, we were ranked the 7th for MBA in Europe in the Financial Times in 2021, just to give you one example. Now, how does the program look like and what is the exact content? So here, so far, we have been implementing 3 formats, which is a 20-month program in English, right? That the next edition will start in November. Then we have the bilingual version, which is an 80-month program, which is taking place weekly, and then also a 20-month program, which is taking place monthly. Now, the exciting news here is that from this year, from November, we will be launching a new format, which is going to be a hybrid format, which means that the program is going to be like 18 months long, with an additional period that you can add on of 6 months. And what's the difference here? That there are going to be modules, but not every month. It's going to be every 3-4 months. And in between, you will have synchronous classes on Saturday. So I'm going to be explaining that to you through this, design here. So you can see, so this is the EMBA hybrid format, so the new format, which is going to start in, October with a kickoff, but then with the first residency module in December. So you see that there's going to be every 16 weeks, 11 weeks, 9 weeks, one face-to-face module. There are going to be 3 modules in Barcelona, 1 in Madrid, and then 1 international week, which would be or Germany or Israel. Then post those 18 months, you can extend the program with 2 more additional weeks, and then also what we call a self-paced course with MIT. So here you can see the key facts. There's 18 or 24 months, up to you to decide. Synchronous classes every Saturday. So there will be 2 sessions of 1.5 hours, which is going to be on a time zone that's going to be convenient for everybody. Now, for you, most of you that are attending today, you are based on the African continent, which means that we don't have this time issue so much, but we will have also students joining from Asia, from Latin America. So that's why we're taking into account the time when these classes will take place. As I mentioned in the previous on the previous slide, so there are going to be 5 residential modules. During those modules, we will be doing company visits during all the face-to-face modules, and then in the last term, you will have the opportunity to choose out of electives that you can do at Esade or that you can do in one of our partner schools. And then optional, after the 18 months, we will be offering you, it's a self-paced course at MIT, that's an online course, and you will of course then also get a certificate of MIT, and then optional international study tours, which is going to be one developed country and then developing country. So we are now looking into the option of going to MIT Boston, and then the other option would be or South Africa or Mexico, but we're about to decide with our partner schools about that. Now, our learning approach is an innovative learning approach. We're going to be focusing on general management skills, on your leadership skills, also on innovation, entrepreneurial mindset, because as you might know, Esade has a very strong focus on innovation and entrepreneurship, having our own incubator on campus and having our entrepreneurial environment and street of innovation on campus. It's going to be a very practical program. So you're going to be working in group a lot in order to learn from each other, a lot of exposure with companies, participating in courses and in projects. Now, in the next slide, you can see how we divided the program in what we call phases. So we have 4 phases. The first one, awareness, the second one, building, the third one, connecting, and the fourth one, deciding. And you can see that through the entire program, you will have journeys that will go through the entire program, like the general management skills, the leadership development program, your growth mindset, and then also global perspective. Besides that, when you finish the program, there will be a lifelong learning experience with possibilities to do further courses once you graduated to the program. So here I want to show a little bit more about the courses that are going to take place in those 4 phases that I mentioned before. So just to give you an idea about the courses that you will be taking in the awareness phase, where, of course, we're going to be talking about financial analysis, about managing market opportunities, economic landscape, digital transformation, geopolitics. When we go to the building, you can see that, of course, we continue with the financial courses, which are quite important, right, in an MBA program, but then also much more other courses like the strategic thinking, operations management, and so on. Then in the connecting phase, you will see also, a course on global affairs, leading change, which is important these times, right? Managing sustainable impact, and so on. And then when we come to the last term, you will have the opportunity to put together your own package of electives. So these are electives that you can do at Esade or that you can do in partner schools. I will tell you a bit more about the schools in the next slide. And then we are working very closely together with our full-time MBA department and also the electives that they have, which of course will make it possible for you to have a much larger network. And talking about network, you have seen that we have 4 formats of Executive MBA, the slide that I showed you at the beginning. And so that means that also you will have a really large network working together also with students from other formats, also interacting and doing also study tours together, right? So your network will be really, really big and really important. And then we also offer you the opportunity to do an exchange program. Not so many Executive MBA students are doing that because most of you are working when they do the program, but there is this option, as we have this already very well established in our full-time MBA program, where our students can go abroad in one of our partner schools around the world to do a 4-month really intense exchange program, a full-time experience in the partner school. And then you saw in the previous slide those journeys that were mentioned that were going through the entire program. So being the leadership development program, general management skills, the growth mindset, what are going to be seeing in the growth mindset, for example, so the creativity and innovation, entrepreneurial mindset, and then you're also going to be working on a final business project that you will be presenting at the end of the program. And then talking about electives and where you can go during the program. So you can see there's a large list of partner schools that we're working with for the electives that are spread all over the world, on the 4 continents, from Australia to the United States to Latin America, so even in the Philippines. So I'm sure that Tatiana and Catherine will tell you more about their electives in a little while, and how they choose, well, where to go and what electives to take. So these are the schools, as mentioned on the previous slide, that are spread over the 5 continents. So there are 16 different destinations for you to choose out of. Now, the class profile, I decided to present to you both class profiles, because in fact we have 2 Executive MBA monthly programs that are running at the same time. So this is the class that started last year, that is Catherine and Tatiana's class. So we see that here we have a class of 37 participants, 32% women, and then also you can see the 11 years of work experience. If we go to the current class there, what do we see? That we have much more women in the current cohort. We have 42% of women, and we have slightly less participants, but more women. So we're very proud of that. And we're doing a really big effort to get to the 50-50, hopefully by the next edition. So we can see that in Tatiana's and Catherine's class, we have, well, an international, very international class profile. We have 8% of students from Africa. And then, as you can see here, 70%, most of them coming from Europe. We have 20 different nationalities, and we have 73% international students. So that means that, well, 27 Spanish, and also 38% of expats. Now, in the new class that started in November, we have 25 different countries represented out of the 33, I believe it was, participants. And so unfortunately, we don't have students from the African continent, mainly because we have been promoting this new hybrid format, which will make it easier for students coming from the African continents to combine with their job, because they will not be, well, they will not have to travel every month, right? So, so yeah, that would be the difference. If we go to the academic backgrounds, just for you to have an overview. So we have 43% of engineering, and then 30% coming from business and management, and then functional area, a quite high percentage coming from marketing and sales, and also operations. And then sector-wise, as you can see, 24% coming from industry manufacturing, and then also 22% from technology, 30% from healthcare. And these are some companies that are represented by students in the class that Tatiana and Catherine are being part of. So you can see we have from one side multinational companies, but then also we have entrepreneurs, we have startups. So it's a very diverse representation of companies and of industries. And this is then the new class that started in November. We have InBev, BMW, as you can see, Price, and so on. So yeah, I hope with this, well, you have a clearer view about who are the people that are going to be in class with you, right? And what is the impact on your career here? Well, the intention of most of our students is making a change, right? What kind of change? Well, 46% of our students are changing companies. 37% get an in-company promotion, and then also 17% become entrepreneurs. So, which is well, quite interesting here, right? And then regarding the change at what time, so 75% of our students are doing this change in the 2 years after finishing the Executive MBA program, and 50% are having a change during the Executive MBA program. Now, regarding the admissions process, I'm going to be very brief here because I really want to go and hear Tatiana's and Catherine's experiences. So regarding the admissions process, we will ask you to fill in the online application. As you can see, we ask for a minimum of 4 years experience, but the average work experience is around 12 years. We will ask you when you do the admissions process to do an admissions test, which you can choose. You can do the Esade test, which is a test which is free of charge. You can do it online once you submit your application, or you can also choose to do the GMAT or the GRE. In case you're applying to other schools, of course, the Esade test will not be taken into account there. At that point, you will have to do the GMAT or the GRE. You can do both, and then we take into account your highest score. Now, if you have studied in English, then we would not need an English certificate from your side, so that you will have a waive then for the English test. Once you submit your application and we have your application is complete, we will do a personal interview, which will be with me. And then I will take your application to the committee. It's a weekly committee, so you will receive an answer from our side very fast after you submitted your application. Regarding the financial aid, important here is, well, for you to know that there are going to be 3 installments. Regarding the financing, interesting to know is that we give an early bird to all of the students that enroll 6 months before the start of the program. And then you will see, and you can find more information on the website, we offer scholarships. There are 4 kinds of scholarships that you can apply for. Once you're admitted to the program, we will take your, I will take your scholarship application to the scholarship committee, which is also a weekly committee. So that means that by the time your deadline arrives that you need to enroll for the program, you will know about your scholarship. Then a lot of our students are combining the scholarship with a bank loan. There are 2 options here, besides, of course, the options that you can check in your in your country, right? We have the Prodigy Finance loan and then also the Bank Sabadell, which is a Spanish bank. The first one is a loan that can be spread over 15 years, and the second one is a loan that can be spread over 8 years. Both have a grace period of the time of you doing the program. You will have to check with Prodigy because they're not covering all countries in Africa. But once you're admitted to the program, you can reach out to them and start your application with them. Regarding the timing and the deadlines, I would say that from our side, we're quite flexible here. If you see, okay, my bank loan has not been approved yet, and my deadline is coming up to enroll for the program, well, we can take that separately, and I'm very happy to work with you on a personalized payment plan if that would be necessary. So yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And 1 second, and then I would like to go to Tatiana and Catherine to share their experience. Hi, hello, ladies. Welcome again. Thanks for accepting my invitation. I would like to ask both of you to go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell a little bit more about yourself.
Right. Tatiana, do you want to start? Or...
Yeah, I can go. So my name is Tatiana Vila Nova. I was born and raised in São Tomé and Príncipe. I have 33 years old. I've been a little bit around the world, studied in different countries, but now I am doing Esade Executive MBA, and I worked for oil and gas company, which is Equator Exploration, until the end of last year. And now I'm only doing my Executive MBA because I want to do something different in my life. So pretty much this is me. Over to you, Catherine.
Yeah, thank you so much. Short and sweet. Yeah, so my name is Nyambura Catherine Wahome. I am Kenyan, born and raised as well. I joined Esade with Tatiana in 2021. I have a total of 8 years experience working. Right now, 5 years of those are in the renewable energy space in an organization here in Kenya called Pawame. And then 3 of those I was working in Tata in India, which is a IT consulting firm. And then I came back here in Kenya, where I also took on another consulting job with an organization called Edge Performance, which is a talent consulting firm. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. The reason I joined Esade, I had many reasons. First of all, I had been thinking of attending MBA. My story is rather quite interesting, how I ended up meeting Ursi in the coast, carrying my drum. And after that, she just told me like what she was doing. And I felt like that just put my puzzle into one big solution. So yeah, so I've never regretted my decision to join Esade. In fact, I'm quite impressed to hear that 50% of the students get promoted or change their careers while still in the program. I am one of those 50% because I got my promotion slightly after I started the university. So yeah, so in form of an introduction, I'll keep it short. In case people have more questions about me, you can type in the chat box, and Ursi, you can take it away.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to go to the very beginning when, well, you decided to apply to Esade, and I would like to ask you what challenges that you faced during the admissions program. So before the admissions process, before you got admitted to the program, what challenges did you have? Catherine, you want to start? Yeah.
Yeah, so that question is specific to administration or generally also like
generally? Yeah, generally.
All right. So COVID had just started, and before COVID, I started feeling I had been in the organization for 3 years, and you reach a point where it's a startup, so everything is exciting. When you know what you're doing in your role, it's even much more impressive because you get things done and you see yourself growing and being impactful. And then slowly you get into management and you start leading others, and you can see yourself also developing as a leader. But then once I was part of the leadership team and interacting with individuals who've done their MBA in like different universities around the world, I kept feeling like, like some of this information and knowledge that they had, I felt like to some extent, it was a growth area for me. And, like you can interact with them and learn a lot from them, but there was always that gap of, individuals that are having a lot of things to do in a startup world. So they will not sit down and always take time to coach you, even though they want from the bottom of their heart, right? So I could feel that gap in terms of, like I wanted to grow more than I was in human capital management. And I wanted to drive the growth of the organization also in terms of understanding how it operates externally, like with the market, the customers, how do we make decisions that enable us to be profitable, what are the models of processes that we're creating internally that will lead us to take the organization to where we want to grow it to, and then expansion strategies and stuff like this. So I'm part of a leader team that does a lot of that kind of brainstorming, but I always felt there was a limit in my knowledge. That was one. I didn't know that I would actually fix it through an MBA by that time, but it was something I was playing around with. The second thing was, like there's this whole, the way the society also, like visualizes how one is supposed to grow. Education is one of them. And we know that's not the gospel truth. Like a lot of individuals have had different type of paths and they still were successful. But I always felt like there's need for me to also just, like have that second level of mastering that will enable me to gain the trust that I know what I'm talking about, not just from experience, but also from a scholarly background. So for me, this were some of the thoughts that I was playing around with. But my biggest issue was that I didn't know how to start looking for university. I knew I wanted it to be abroad in Europe or in the US, but then I didn't have so much information. So I remember I used to ask people who are living in Harvard, like, because whenever you ask for universities in Kenya, people tell you Harvard, Stanford, and London School of Economics. But I wanted something different because I have a love for culture, art, and music. And I always felt like I also want to go into a country that can offer me their utmost traditional culture, because this is it's all part of the education that you gain and the internationalization, So yeah, so for me, it was important to get another piece of information that came through you. I mean, I was lucky because I met you physically in the coast, that was quite something, like it was unexpected. And for me, that gave me that insight that I was lacking. And, like it was that one thing that was missing in my entire puzzle of, I know I'm having all these gaps, but I don't know how to connect it into this is where I'm headed. So it was very helpful to have an individual who's inside the school, who understood the processes, who also helped me to understand what I could gain for and me seeing how that plays around my reality. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. Tatiana.
Me personally, I wouldn't say that I had a challenge because I always knew that I will do an MBA, but I was in between executive MBA or MBA. If you remember, I started the application because I always wanted to start in Spain from the beginning. And then when I started my application, I had stopped it because I have 2 kids, and then I was trying to balance how am I going to go to Spain and then do my logistics with the kids. And then also she convinced me that I should do, there's a hybrid option. I could stay a while and then go to Spain a while. And then on the second part, I had this feeling that I was a little bit stuck in the company, that I needed to change, or either to change the scenario or start doing my own business, which is something that I always wanted to do. So it's not a challenge for me. It was a matter of decision of the timing more than challenge regarding the starting the executive MBA or not. Yeah.
Okay, so, and how did you, maybe Tatiana, maybe you can continue. How did you approach your company, and how did they, how did they react when you said, okay, I would like to do an MBA program? I would like to ask you a little bit more about that. How did that negotiation go?
It was very straightforward and easy because my company is very supportive. Actually, one of the person that wrote the letter, it was my direct manager. I just told them that I needed to do executive MBA, and while we were working at home, it was possible for me to continue work and then doing my executive MBA. But I never had a challenge regarding the company. It was always supportive, and they always help people improving and go forward for the improvement of the career as well. So it is something that is part of the company. So it was very easy and straightforward.
Okay, good. And what about you, Catherine?
I think I had almost a similar experience like Tatiana, because our company is quite supportive when it comes to growth strategies for individuals who are excelling in the organization. However, I have to say that you have to show the connection, the value that it adds to the company. For the company to invest, doesn't matter if it's time or finances, they have to see what they're gaining. And most of the time, it's they're trusting that you're going to get that information, that knowledge, that, all the networks, or you're building the capabilities, and you're going to find a way to every day apply it to your day-to-day activities, and they need to see you improve. It's actually a test to yourself, because you feel more pressured, like learn and come back home and show what's the impact of that learning. So I think this is how I got my winning take. It was very clear for me to show them like how what I'm gaining is gonna be given back here.
And Catherine, how have you been applying what you learned into your job so far?
Okay, so the most important parts that I've been applying for me have been, we have the strategic class, the strategic thinking. So we are in a phase where we're doing a lot of shifts in our business model, in our way of running the businesses. And for me, it was, once I have this framework of, how we do the organizational changes, I will bring the exact framework the way I have been informed about it, and I will try to convince the company that this is the right way we should go with it. And because they're very supportive, they would allow me to play with that, especially in my department. So if it works in my department, then they can say, all right, let's look into adopting it in the company, you know? So I'll see how that comes to play. Also, like my leadership style changed a lot because I think we'll talk about this probably later on, but those are the surprising things when you go to the class. You find out that you're not only learning the technical aspects, but also, you know, you learn a lot about yourself, you know. So you start saying, oh, I can see where I was going wrong or misrepresenting myself, you know. So you come back and, you know, you tell your team, hey, going forward, you know, like I'd like us to try new things and try different ways. And you see how they are receiving this information and, you know, also learning from what you're learning and, you know, wanting to work with you towards the new path, you know. So these are some of the things that I feel like I just come back and I'm like, let's try this. Yeah.
Tatiana, how have you applied, well, what you've, after each module, because at the end, you go to a module, you learn new things, you go back to your job. So I believe that, well, depending on the courses, some courses more than others, right? That you can really apply and what you've seen during the week, right? Once you're back in the company. So Tatiana, can you share some of the, well, things that you took with you to your job?
It is more regarding on the financial side, how to make a decision based on the financial statement, how to thinking that how can we improve the profits, how could you do strategically and more of this. And also one of the things that I really like that I wasn't expecting personally is to get to know myself through the module that we have. Like I said, we have this experience, learning, development, self-knowledge and everything. So it's something that it really was, I mean, I could help and use it towards my colleagues and how we could improve our commercial teams and our sessions. Yes.
Okay, so, well, the program is quite intense. So you've seen in the, well, all of you that are attending, you've seen in the schedule that it's quite intense, a lot of courses, a lot of options of doing electives, traveling, going to modules and so on. So I would like to ask both of you, how do you balance your personal life, your friends, your family with your work, and then with intense classes taking place, right? Maybe Tatiana, you want to go ahead and tell me a bit more about how having two children on top of that, right? How do you do how do you manage everything?
First of all, I don't sleep much. At the moment, I mean, I'm taking advantage of the hybrid options. I'm doing a lot of online electives, a lot of online sessions as well. And when the kids they are in school, I'm trying to catch up on the next sessions because they give us always in advance. When they are sleeping, I go back to the books, and then we have to do this pre-assignment and read 2-3 books and articles in 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks. So every time that I have spare moment, I'll go to my Esade folder and catch up on the things. And there's always a planning. You have to plan ahead. You have to know that, okay, this moment is for this, that moment is for this, and then you have to balance everything. But 90% of my time is on for the study, I mean, for the MBA. And now that I do not work anymore, I have more time, but again, less sleeping because I have also personal life. I have also my kids that I want to take care and catch up with them as well. Yeah.
And how do you combine with the travel? Because you travel to the modules. You can do also electives abroad. So Tatiana, how do you schedule everything? You're going to be going to Mexico next month, right? So how do you combine that then? Because that's extra travel, right?
Yes. So when I have to travel to India, where I live, they stay with my kids. And that's the moment that I'm all by myself. And for those that have kids plan to do this, you need to know that you have to have someone that will take care and stay with your kids for you. Otherwise, you have to do it online. If you cannot do it, you have to try and really, really have to have someone to stay with your kids. So this is how I do. I have my friends, they stay with the kids and families as well sometimes. And this is how I've been doing.
Catherine, yes. What about
I'm
you?
I'm just smiling because I think that was the toughest part to adjust. So first of all, I think everyone needs to know when Ursi is saying electives, it means some of them will be in different countries. Also because it's exciting to select. I've gone already to St. Gallen in Switzerland for my first elective. And I'm planning to go to another one in London and so on and so forth. So for me, the first advice will be overplan, look at your work schedule, school schedule, which you'll be given, and also travel plan for the whole year. Take advantage of all the free, like cheaper tickets as a result of early booking. The worst that could happen is that there's a change and you need to just adjust your ticket. And nowadays, adjustment of tickets is very easy because of COVID. Yeah. So it has made life a little bit easier for us. So in terms of logistics, I think it's look at all your work program, school program, and travel, and then overestimate, because sometimes, especially with travel, there's a lot of things that are happening now with COVID, like changes of rules, connections being changed, So have a checklist of all those things that you need to have in advance just to avoid, this small waste of time. And then communicate it to everyone around you. That starts with your bosses, your direct reports, and your family. Otherwise, statements like "you're never here" will start flying your way, and like people start feeling like you're just never there, and you don't want that. Like, make them aware that this is change and it's a good change for you. Tell them how it's gonna be for the year, and then in between, while you're traveling, probably have WhatsApp, send them pictures and videos of the things you're doing so that they feel like you're engaged. It actually takes me like just in the morning, like, "Hey guys, I'm going to class. This is how it looks like." Or "Shmilak." And they start joking during the day on WhatsApp and stuff, but they're keeping tabs with you. And then for the staff, I think the problem comes in with work, because work, they think they understand that you're gonna be out, but they really don't. They think they do. When you start being out for the first month for 3 days, and then you go for an elective for a whole week, then it hits home that this is actually taking you away from work. So what you do is, for me, like what I did is I communicated this to my boss, and he was very kind to say, if you can find an intern to take on some of our roles, I'm very happy to consider that, and like that's an alternative source, but you get someone who can catch up easily and quickly. Things like those, yeah.
Okay, so Catherine, another question for you. You've been already going to international modules abroad, to the electives. Can you tell a bit more about this international exposure that you get? Because at the end, you're in other schools with, meeting other people. So what does that mean for your network? What does that mean? What impact does it have on you, having this exposure, right?
Yeah, I think this was among my biggest surprises for the MBA. I knew the electives were coming, but when they happened, it was life-changing, because being in Esade already had like a lot of international people who also have different backgrounds in the organization and also different industries. So already that's quite rich. And then we also collaborate a lot with other MBAs, yeah. So yes, that's rich, but then now moving from one country to another, and even moving from your class to another, because when you're selecting the electives, you have maybe 2 to 3 other people in your class, but not maybe, right? So the classes in the other countries also are rich, like the way Esade is. So that was it was quite a good surprise for me. It's like you keep increasing your network, and the individuals, also the culture of the country, the way the things work. So you are advancing as you go by. And I think the reason why we have geopolitics is also because we need to understand how different countries operate, because when you're thinking about the growth of organizations, it's usually like one of the ways to grow is geographically, yeah, like the geographical expansion. So this, when you get there, you start seeing how everything you've always thought about expansion can, like you start challenging a lot of thoughts, and when you speak with the different leaders from different organizations, they give you more in-depth, knowledge through, the lunches, the networking events that you're there. Like, I think it's just a completely life-changing event.
Okay, thank you, Catherine, for sharing that.
Yeah.
Maybe Tatiana, maybe you wanna tell maybe a little more about, well, what are the best experience that you had during the program? What surprised you most? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Me, it was definitely the amount of the reading that we have to do in very short time. That's the thing that really surprised me, and the different cultures and the different experience that people share, different backgrounds, like Kat said. So that was the most, the surprising that I had so far.
Sorry, I was.
My internet is broken. Yeah?
Sorry.
My internet is okay so far, yeah?
Yes, it's okay. Yeah. And I want to go back to what we were talking at the beginning, the impact and the career change that, that a lot of our students are experiencing and during the program, right? I don't know, for you, Tatiana, you have a particular situation, right? Because you decided to quit your job. Maybe you want to tell us a bit more about, well, at the meantime, what impact it has, what drove you to this decision, and what is the impact that from the very beginning the program had on your career and your aspirations, right, for the future?
I'm in between 60 to 70% of becoming an entrepreneur. I'm already doing my business plan and designing my future business. So that's the thing that changed my mind completely. I remember on the first session when Michele joined, and he was telling us that be ready, that you are going to enter this way, but you will leave total change. And I said, yeah, but I know what I want. I know where I'm going to be. And I was surprised that he said that, and I didn't feel it, but from the end of the first phase until today, I'm definitely not the same person that started the Executive MBA. And it's good because you have these modules that you really have to do your business plan. Even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, you will do it, and then you will decide if you will continue the way you enter, and then you will change it. And me is a total change, and I know that I'm not going to be the same, and I'm going to continue to be on the way of the entrepreneurship, definitely.
Good, thank you. And Catherine, well, you mentioned already on the beginning, you got promoted during the MBA program. You want to tell us a bit more about that?
Well, so yes, I would. So I was a manager before, and then I went to human capital director. The change came as a result of I think it was mostly something that I was lacking in my CV that was more like advanced towards almost the level of all the other leaders in the organization. And that was first from a scholarly perspective, the MBA, because it's a requirement, right? But then secondly, it's also like I said earlier, it's the knowledge of how things need to be done strategically, yeah, on a high level, because we are talking of starting to expand geographically, starting to also do expand product portfolio and so on and so forth. So the dynamics starts changing towards needing broader knowledge. So I started showcasing more of that. I guess also because the first sessions were quite insightful. We started with strategic thinking, Tatiana, right? I think that like injected something in me that it was something that I really needed at that point, general management, and towards that, because I was very, at some point I was very narrowly looking at, my function, instead of organization-wide.
Okay, so now going to the African reality, what's going on the African continent, the challenges, that a lot of countries are facing, a lot of executives are facing. How do you think that a program like this can help candidates from the African continents in their, well, with their future professional aspirations? What do you think? I would like to hear from both of you.
All right, Tatiana, do you want to go?
Kat, do you want me to start or you can? Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
No, you start. You can go.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So for me, I think what maybe this is a little bit personal. Okay. I'll start with the education background. So I studied in Uganda, but also studied in Kenya. So what I've gathered from those two countries, I can only speak from a personal experience, is that the way we learn at that point when you're choosing your undergrad was a bit more like my parents said I should take B-commerce, I will take B-commerce, or the system seems to be aligned towards, you know, like these are the jobs that are existing, so I'm going to take this. So you almost are not in existence in that choice, and hence when you're inside the system, the learning is also equally the same. It's almost like you can't put the puzzle between real world learning of organizations towards like the education that you're gaining. So for me, like what I've seen as a huge difference, again, personal experience, is the methodology that I gained from learning in another system that is being advanced quite a lot. And also like, you know, like every day Esade takes in, this is what we're hearing from the students, this is what we're hearing from the business world, how can we combine this together? The benefit of that is that I'm able to gain knowledge that I use. Applicability is very obvious. Maybe also because now I have a lot of experience in working, so I can see how that information is directly fitting through certain real world scenarios, you know? So that I feel like also they use multiple case studies, and then the experiences of my years, and also like the lecturers bring in people who are business leaders excelling in that line of work, and it's just, it is what it is. It's like you see it, you hear it, it makes sense, you apply it, you know, to the extent that you are responsible, right? So this is one thing that I feel like we are gaining by being able to study in such kind of like a very top university in the world. And then the second thing for me is, again, I feel like businesses here, we're emerging markets. So there's a lot of learnings to be done. There's a lot of things that we didn't have here in a structured manner. Like simple things, for example, just from observing even a society like in Spain, where we have, like in our class, we have what, 40% of engineers in the class. At some point, I kept asking myself, why would the country have so many engineers, you know? Because if you cross over to Switzerland, it was the same thing. Then I realized that's a way also of like growing the society through formalizing some of these lines of work to becoming, you know, like an expert in a certain line of work, because you're able to add a lot of value in that line of work. I feel like here we helter-skelter around becoming an all-purpose person, because again, I think it's a different times of growth of education systems, to the extent of you're always like thinking so broadly around 20 topics, but not becoming an expert in any of them. So when you have a lot of generation of people in this state, it's a lot of time being wasted in a lot of different kind of activities. I work in talent space. I see a lot of people come in for interviews and tell me I'm an all-rounded person. But what does it exactly mean? But this is something that our CVs were designed and we were taught you have to be able to be a lot of things together, but I don't believe that's true. So when you see this working in another economy that has grown, and you know, like it's obvious where there's results, there's truth in it, right? So that challenges the way we think about also like the education system, and hence also, you know, like when I come back here and talk about the talent is, I'm able to see like what can I contribute also in terms of being part of the education conversations that will enable the country to look at different diverse ways of changing the system. And we are doing that right now. The government is doing it. Like in workspaces, this combining individuals who studied abroad and the ones who are local is bringing so much value. The businesses all of a sudden are able to, like drive the results in a sustainable manner. So this is something that we, when we are studying out there, are able to see the best practices and bring it back home. And even, like I'm passionate about always bringing it back home. Like I want our society to grow, and I want to share my stories here, and I want people to be able to, like see what else can we do to gain it here. But for now, if it's out there, let's outsource it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Catherine. Tatiana, what do you think that students from African continent can take out of this, of this program, studying at Esade, in order to boost their career?
I will base on my experience, but then I have to design a different scenario, because in my country, we have 5 countries that speak Portuguese. So most of our countries, when we finish the high school, we always go outside the country, mostly to Asia, Europe, South America, to do our graduation and even masters and pre-masters. So, and some of us, we go back, and what we bring is the value, is the knowledge, is new information. So I would say that this is what the school is going to allow the African student. Plus is the entrepreneurship mindset. I will base on my experience, like I said, and I will add that we will have this mentality of create more jobs, more business, more leadership type mentality, and towards this, now that instead of going and okay, I have to work, I have this main salary that I will receive and then pay my expenses. No, we will not settle for this anymore. It's going to change the mentality totally. Yes. So
okay, all right. So, and you were already, you were mentioning challenges. What do you think, Tatiana, are the main challenges that candidates from the African continent are facing in order to be able to go and do this master at Esade, right? So I'm sure you also went through some of them, like the financing, some going to the administration side, some visa issues and so on. I don't know, maybe not in your case, but then Catherine, so what do you think are the challenges that they have to take in account when they consider apply and study abroad?
Mainly, I would say is the financial, because the school is, you have to go each month to the Spain, and you have to consider that you're going to spend the next 18 or so on months of your life doing this back and forth, and then you will have the electives abroad, you will have in the exchange if you want to stay for more than 2 months or 3 months, I guess. Yeah, so it's the financial, and then you need to remember that you will have to focus and spend a lot of time reading and researching, and you will have to focus and not wasting, but put your efforts towards it, because you need to have the advantage and good things from the money that you invest. Is like an investment. I don't have any experience with the visa because I didn't need to, so I don't know how to say. Maybe Kat will explain this. But my advice in here is that plan ahead. The sooner that you get the response from the university, start applying for the visas. The longer, the better. Don't do it for just because you know that you're going on the next month. You will apply only for the 1 month. Apply for the longest that you can, and then you will, by the time you know that it's going to finish, start applying again for the same thing.
Okay, Catherine, you want to share your experience?
Right. I had quite a dramatic one. I guess that kind of helps to prepare other students. But first, I'll start with the visa. All right. So the visa process for any Schengen visa, I think it's quite long, but it depends also with the country that you're coming in through. So I was coming in through Spain, and they asked for a lot of things because I was asking for a student's visa. But then it was in the middle of COVID. A lot of offices were closed as a result of this, because there's the education certificate, which needs to be legalized by education department. Then there's medical checks, which you need to go and take a lot of tests and then take it to be certified by the medical board. Then there's the birth certificate, the good conduct, and the list keeps going, right? So all these things take quite some time. I think the offices are mostly open, but like it was, I would go for meetings and just find the people not there for like weeks, and I was supposed to report pretty, like when we decided that, COVID is kind of like becoming less impactful and the vaccination was there, then the university decided we can be there physical. And then, like the night where I have everything and I can finally travel, then Spain changes the travel rules in the middle of the night, then I cancel my ticket, all these things happened. But what they taught me, more importantly, is there's something we need to do with time, like just now, nothing is as it used to be. So instead of, I did all these things in like 2 to 3 weeks or so, if I remember, but I needed 2 months, to be honest. So it was very stressful. And if the list is there, like it's something that exists online, once you start your application process, do it concurrently. Application process, visa process. And this is because, like, first of all, you should believe in yourself, like you're gonna do well in the test and pass and all the application processes. So do those things concurrently. And then the other thing I would say that was quite challenging for me, I think also was the culture. The culture. It was it was a new culture. And that comes with a little bit of also like changes in weather that, we never communicate this. I think for Tatiana, she's been living in the UK, so it wasn't much of a shock for her. But for me, like even things like winter, I was showing up in winter and I hadn't realized that it was gonna change very quickly from August to September, and it started being very cold, and I had completely the opposite of the kind of clothes I needed for class. And everybody was kind of laughing the way Tatiana is laughing right now. But yeah, those are just small issues. So the major ones are the visa process, put in 2 months of time. I don't know the attendance of this meeting, which countries you come from, but I think it's pretty standard. It's like a lot of documentation that needs to be certified because this is a long-term visa. It's not the tourist one. The time for planning for your studies, the test pre, like GMAT or Esade test. This is like a golden moment for you to quiet your mind and bring yourself towards now getting into a school, back to a school, because most of us have been out for like 3, no, it's minimum of 4, so 4 to whatever years, say 12, for example. And, after a while, you start forgetting the principles of learning. Like Tatiana said, the amount of books we need to read and quickly internalize and create a case defense. And it's just, in the beginning, it's like, whoa, how many do I have to do of those? Like you even wonder how you start asking your friends and colleagues in class, hey, did you finish that case study? Did you finish also this one? And how quickly do you read a case study? Does it take you 5 hours like me? And then they say, no, it takes me 1 hour. And then you realize, oh, you're completely off. So take the test as an opportunity to bring your mind towards like remembering how to learn, because it's like that disconnect exists for some reason and it comes back. When it comes back, you wouldn't believe it. You just go back into your A game and you're able to focus more, read fast, answer all the assignments, deliver them on time. But there is a lot to do, and the earlier you start practicing also through the advantage of those tests, the better it is for you. I don't know if there's something else that I remember, but yeah, the last one was a funny one, which is I have a funny story about my experience in Switzerland and the weather. But yeah, let's keep it that to another time.
Okay, thanks. So I was writing in the chat that if you have any questions for those of you attending, feel free. I'm sorry that we can't switch the microphone and the camera on, but feel free to write them in the chat. In the meantime, I did see a question coming in from Shauna, if I pronounce the name correctly. She was asking Tatiana and Catherine, what countries and schools have you done thus far? I believe that is referring to the countries that you lived, and where did you follow school? Yeah, maybe Catherine, you want to go ahead? Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. She was referring to the electives. Okay, sorry. Okay, yeah. So the electives and maybe also the international weeks abroad that are coming up and that you attended. Sorry. Yes.
All right. So she's giving me an opportunity to talk about Switzerland. So yeah, my my elective, the one that I've done so far is the one in St. Gallen. That's a university. It's one of the universities, I think, in Switzerland, but also like it has very good reputation also in Europe. So first of all, the school is in a very beautiful area. So even when you're going there and walking around, it just makes you feel like the place is quite magical. But yeah, so I felt like this was quite an experience for me because I was taking AI, and my class had all like students who had an AI background or was working in projects that were from like an artificial intelligence current, transition or digitalization. So yeah, we're talking about like the GSK, which is GlaxoSmith, Siemens, and so on and so forth. And so for me, this was quite like insightful because you're having people who come from that background, even though you don't. They make you, like during lunch hours when you're having your eating sessions, they just like take you through, like what is their journey been like, moving from their career that did not have, for example, digitalization or AI or any machine learning background to what they are today. So you start seeing that you can do it as well, so that was very helpful. I felt also like that ability to just be in the present of, like a different culture from the culture gave me a broader understanding of, like it's not just how Spain works, but also how another country works, which is in Europe, right? Because for me, I did work in Tata, and I'm looking to change my current workspace. And Tata gave me an opportunity to work with the European market and Asia market and Africa as well. But yeah, so I wanted to gain that experience from Asia, then from Africa, then Europe, so that I can be able now to come back and bring a combination of all this in an organization that, like probably it's an expansion project in Africa or in Asia, So it's important for me to now go back and work in a country in Europe. So I feel like the more I go in different countries, the more I'm able to see, okay, so this is the pattern I'm gaining, like what they do similarly, and this is the differences. Mostly it's about just once you cross the border, the culture changes altogether, right? So yeah, so you start kind of like being able to connect the dots. But my greatest learning, and I wrote it down when I came back from Switzerland, was I was there to study and learn technical things, but I feel like I was mostly schooled in terms of my social skills. Like this is the one area where, like if you lock yourself in a room, you have to come out with the project done, otherwise it's counterintuitive, counterproductive, sorry. So things like those, I felt like the more every time I go to a new place, the more I feel like, especially it gets you out of your comfort zone fully. So you're just like there ready for learning or nothing else, right? And you know that you've done all this effort so that you can be there for learning. So it pushes you to even do more. So yeah, I don't know if there is a specific question for that, but I hope I answered her question. So I've done only Switzerland, and that was in St. Gallen, and it was a course for machine learning, artificial intelligence, basically.
You said you were going to the UK, Catherine?
I should be going to the UK. I sort of was among the individuals who applied for it last So I am under the waiting because, yeah, so the list was really long. But I'm supposed to be there also in Imperial College.
Okay, Tatiana, where will you be going to Mexico? I understood next month. You too, Catherine?
Yes, I'll be going to Mexico and Israel for the International Immersion Weeks. Yeah.
And Israel, yeah. And you, Tatiana?
Yes. So I started today in Aalto. We were supposed to go to Finland, but because of the COVID, they canceled and they shift again to the online module. The module that I choose is about financial decision making and how the pestle analysis that we do on the microeconomics level and mesoeconomic level impacts on the financial decision making. And then at the end of the module, we will talk about the microeconomics decision that is going to impact on your financial decision to decide whether how do you should invest or not invest, pay, so decide towards a financial decision. And in Mexico, we are going next month, and I will also go to Israel, Boston, and India. But because of the COVID, we don't know yet when it's going to happen, only next month. But this is how I pick. And the rest I've been doing on online is more towards artificial intelligence, moonshot transformation, strategic thinking, emotional intelligence towards emotion. How do you behave? How do you on decision making as well is more towards this. So what I'm doing is I'm taking all the electives that is going to help me build my company, or at least how to analyze whether it's more in entrepreneurship way that I'm doing, and how the international markets impacts on your decision, where you should go, which is the best opportunity for you in the international market, how can you take it and go back to Africa and implement it, try to adapt it, and so on and so on. It's pretty much widen the opportunity, make the connections, and do you.
Okay, thank you so much. We've gone a little bit over time. It was really, really, really interesting hearing your experience in the program. And I hope that attendants enjoyed it too. Now, before we leave, because we didn't talk about Barcelona, so I would like to ask both of you, what is your favorite place, or what is your favorite thing to do in Barcelona? Because Barcelona is an amazing city, very vibrant, very entrepreneurial. You've both been here, so I would like to ask you what is your favorite place to be in Barcelona? Tatiana, you want to go first?
I only went to Barcelona once, so I cannot tell much, and it was the first time, and I had this horrible experience with my luggage, so I don't want to talk about Barcelona because I don't have this good experience so far in Barcelona because of this, but we will go in next month or in March, so maybe I will have more to talk about. Yeah, Barcelona I'll leave to Kat because I know she's been enjoying Barcelona a lot.
Catherine?
Sure. Yeah, so Sagrada Familia is one of my most iconic buildings ever. I used to live near there. So for those who don't know, this is like a church that started being built since 1805 by this family, and they kept changing due to different reasons. Like sometimes it will be death of a family member, then the next generation takes up, planning. And it's so beautiful and so magical. Sometimes I will just wake up and go out there to just look at it because there's a near it. So this is one of my favorite places to visit. I love Barceloneta. I just love the beach. In Kenya, we have the coast here, which is like not in the city. But Barceloneta is just, like next to the beach. And this is something that you can come out of the classes in Esade and go directly there. I find this quite magical, to be honest, like walking around there and the sunsets and seeing people skating and, chit-chatting in the evening. I love this type of environment. I have so many things. I also really love how Sankugat looks in Esade, like the main campus. We all went there and we were like, oh, we should be here more often, you know. And the food, I have to say, Spanish food is quite something. There's so much different kind of meals, you know. So I love cooking, and whenever I'm idle, sometimes I would, you know, like I have a friend who's a chef, and they would teach me how to make different Spanish meals. And then lastly, okay, this is not about Barcelona, so I'll leave it there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just want to highlight something, because Tatiana said that she came only once to Barcelona, just to explain, because both of you, you're doing the monthly format, right? So that means that, well, you have a week, well, a 4-day module every month. Now, taking into account that a lot of our students are coming from further away, we did give them the option of doing modules online. So that's what Tatiana has been doing. She's been following the modules, but then online, taking into account, well, there's also the COVID situation, and then also for those of you that were living further away. Now, this is going to be changing now with a new hybrid format that, as I mentioned at the beginning, that we're going to be launching in October, because there, well, it's going to be less challenging for those of you coming from further away, because you will have to travel every 3 up to 4 months for a face-to-face week module. So instead of 4 days, it's going to be a week module, and then in between, it's going to be synchronous learning, right? So besides then the electives, of course, at the end, that you can be flying back and forth to the schools that you would like, as many as you want, because at the end there is a minimum number of electives that you need to have to get your credits, but there's no maximum. So if you want, you can fly all around the world and trying to do all the electives, right? If you can combine it with your work and your personal life. So this is something that I wanted to just highlight. So that's, I mean, we've gone over time 10 minutes. So I don't see any further questions from the public. Well, first of all, thanking Tatiana and Catherine for being here and sharing their valuable experience with us. Thank you so much. I do want to share my screen, because we have an important event coming up that could be interesting for you, and that's the Executive MBA. It's the virtual open day that is taking place on the 5th of February. So there we're going to be having a masterclass. We're going to be having students joining from different parts of the world, telling you their experience. So you can go to our website and you can go to upcoming events, and there you can see this event and sign up for it. And of course, from my side, I'm very happy to have a follow-up call with you. Please let me know. I will be reaching out to all of you that attended today. So, and I would love to hear more about, well, what are your intentions professionally, educationally, and then hopefully have a one-to-one session to hear more about that in the coming days or weeks. So yeah. So, well, once again, Catherine, Tatiana, thanks a lot for being here with us today. Enjoy the rest of your journey.
Thank you.
Take the most out of it.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah. We will.
You're welcome. Take care. And thanks to all of you for being here with us today.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.